Welcome to the best one-card new Blue Eyes White Dragon Magia combo guide and more. Just one card gives us the ultimate Dragon Master Magia with 3 negates. A Blue Eyes Spirit Ultimate Dragon which can negate anything plus disallow the opponent from banishing from our grave. A Stardust Dragon which can negate any destruction. A Cipher Divine Dragon that could further negate any monster effects plus destroy a card in the field. And protects our entire field from being destroyed the first time it would. And on top of that, we had 2 graveyard negates through our Spirit Dragons, all with 1 card, nothing else in the hand. I will later in the video showcase a combo without using the Accel Synchro Stardust Dragon or Master with Eyes of Blue within your deck, because this is going to be the main downside of playing Magia in your deck, where of course the Magia itself, the other spots taken up in your extra deck, plus the main deck bricks you will be playing. Let's start off this 1-card combo with normal summoning our Sage with Eyes of Blue, which will search our deck for a level 1 tuner. We're going to grab the Maiden of White, which will discard herself to activate a True Light from your hand, deck, or grave. We are now going to further turn the Sage with Eyes of Blue into a Link 1 Spirit with Eyes of Blue, which will activate to search our deck for the field spell Mausoleum of White. We're going to activate the Mausoleum of White, which will then activate to target the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the grave. Now let's activate our Spirit with Eyes of Blue to reborn our Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard, which will trigger the effect of the Maiden in Grave on the summon of a Blue Eyes White Dragon. She will activate to reborn herself on the field. Now we're going to synchro them into our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. And now with the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon on field, it is safer to activate our True Light. On Master Duel Meta, I'm going to click on the magnifying glass and type in Hand Trap up here to sort by the most popular hand traps, top in tournaments, and reaching Master rank. We scroll down, we're going to see Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which I believe is going to be rising in popularity. This is going to be one of the best counters to the True Light. You activate this to destroy True Light on the field, and then True Light has the massive downside, which will activate in graveyard, destroying all of your monsters. But when you can, if you could summon a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon before activating your True Light, which plays into the Ghost Ogre, you could use your Spirit Dragon's effect, which states, when an effect from either player activates in the graveyard, you can negate the activation. Thus, you would be able to negate the True Light effect of wiping out your own monsters, which would then make you end your turn. Let's now resolve our safely used True Light to set from the deck a Prayers with Eyes of Blue. Now, because this is a 1-card combo, the Prayers with Eyes of Blue right now has no card in the hand to discard, where normally in a game you're going to have at least 4 other cards in your hand. We're going to activate the other effect of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon to summon an Ancient Fairy Dragon onto the field, which will activate destroying all field spells on the field to then search our deck for the Gateway of Chaos. We're now going to be activating Gateway of Chaos, searching our deck for a Blackluster Soldier. We're going to discard the Blackluster Soldier with the Prayers of White, and then we're going to be searching our deck for the Ultimate Fusion and a Master with Eyes of Blue. Again, I'll showcase a combo without requiring the Master with Eyes of Blue. We are now going to be activating the other effect of Ancient Fairy Dragon to summon a monster from our hand. We're going to synchro into our Accel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Again, I'll be showing a combo without Accel Synchro Stardust. It's important to reborn from engrave our Maiden of White. With Maiden in White on the field, we're going to activate the main ability of Master with Eyes of Blue, while in grave, we're going to target the Maiden of White to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from our graveyard. Now, when she is targeted, she wants to directly chain to being targeted to reborn a level 1 tuner or a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the grave. Because the Master is already reborning a Blue Eyes White Dragon, we want to reborn the tuner. So let's reborn our Sage with Eyes of Blue as the Master sends the Maiden to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon from the grave. Now we're going to use the Prayers with Eyes of Blue to equip onto the Blue Eyes White Dragon the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This is very important because the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is going to be used as a fusion material alongside the in-grave Blackluster Soldier to summon our Dragon Master Magia. Let's now get into the graveyard by synchroning with the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Sage into a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Now that the Ultimate Dragon and the Blackluster Soldier are either on the field, hand, or grave, we can fuse them away into our Dragon Master Magia. This card is absolutely nuts. It has triple negate, as it can negate a monster spell and trap all once each within 1 turn. Let's now showcase the best way to play this out, but first they're going to try to Nibiru us. Of course, this is a bad use of Nibiru. Negate the Fool. In order to make this a fair duel, we're going to give the opponent 11 cards as I showcase to you exactly how to use our forms of disruption. Starting this off with an impermanence to negate our Magia. Magia will negate the impermanence as it can negate 3 different card types, monster spell and trap within the same turn. We're going to chain our True Light to reborn our Blue Eyes White Dragon from in graveyard as they chain a Druid Storm to banish our Blue Eyes White Dragon. we're going to chain the Spirit Dragon to summon an Ultimate Dragon in the extra deck, which will stop the Drew Swarm from banishing our grave. They're then going to chain Call by the Grave to finger our in-grave Spirit Dragon to stop us from summoning that Ultimate Dragon, as we're then going to follow up with the Magia to negate a spell. Now the Magia could still negate a monster effect within this turn. Say goodbye to that Call by the Grave, negated, as the Spirit Dragon summons from the extra deck the Ultimate Spirit Dragon. And as you can see here, your opponent cannot banish cards from your grave. If they're going to activate Call by the Grave or a Bestial, that is when you're going to chain summon this from your extra deck. Drew Swarm resolves with no effect. The True Light is going to resolve, reborning our Blue Eyes White Dragon, which will trigger the in-grave Maiden to reborn herself onto the field. Activate, Reborn Mate, and now let's go into the main phase with our other forms of disruption. We're going to activate a Fiendsmith Tract. We're going to chain Accel Synchro Stardust to come forth and summon a Stardust Dragon from our extra deck, and then perform a Synchro Summon with our current field. This is an amazing interaction with our True Light, as when we summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon and Maiden on their field, it's not a form of disruption unless we're able to synchro with them using the Accel Synchro Stardust. And the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon plus Stardust Dragon are also completely unaffected by all other card effects. Let's resolve that Tract. Tract adding a Lurie, discard the Lurie, Lurie engrave activating. Now the Spirit Dragon states that it can negate any activation in either player's graveyard, and if you have more than one Spirit Dragon, you have more than once negate. We're also going to chain the other effect of the Spirit Dragon to come forth and summon from the extra deck. If we didn't have an Ultimate Dragon, this could be quite risky because they could Call by the Grave, negate your Spirit Dragon effect to summon from the extra deck, and its in-grave negate would both be negated. So do be careful. You could have waited for the resolution of the negate to then make this play to summon from the extra deck. As we summon a Crimson Dragon. Lurie negated. Let's Crimson Dragon activates effect to target our Ultimate Spirit Dragon to come forth and summon onto the field our Siffer Divine Dragon. Each time any of our cards would be destroyed, they are not destroyed just once per turn. And also we can negate any monster effect and destroy any card on the field. Let's see how they play this out. Triple Tactics Talent, which I believe is going to be the best use of our Ultimate Spirit Dragon to negate, because if we negate a monster effect, it does not actually destroy the card it's negating. Negate the Triple Tactics Talent as he attempted to take control of one of our cards. They're going to follow up with Diablo discarding from the hand to come forth and summon, activating. We're going to use Siffer Dragon to negate that activation and destroy a card on the field. This could be anything on the field that we would want to destroy. Let's take out the Diablo Raigeki activating to wipe out our entire field of monsters. We are protected thanks to the Siffer Dragon, as you can see there. Following up with Harpy Feather Duster. If our True Light gets destroyed, it will activate Engrave, wiping out all our monsters. We would then lose. Well, again protected by the Siffer Divine Dragon. Dark Hole, what now? We have Stardust Dragons to negate any effect that would destroy a card in the field. Negate the Dark Hole. Now, what else do you have from here? They have a normal summon Pydra activating on summon. We're going to use the Magia to negate the Pydra Mate. With the Pydra negated, that is it. Nothing left. Stardust Dragon would reborn itself back onto the field. And the Ultimate Spirit Dragon will get destroyed by the effect of Spirit Dragon because it dies during the end phase. Now, if the Raigeki did not happen, the Siffer Dragon would actually protect it from itself being destroyed within the end phase, and it would stay on the field for another turn. But when destroyed, it could reborn a Blue Eyes monster from the grave. It could summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon or a Spirit Dragon. Now, it's worth noting that the Spirit Dragon can only summon a monster from the extra deck if it is currently on the field synchro summoned. Summoned from the grave is not considered synchro summoned, so right now it only has the effect to negate an engrave effect. While the Ultimate Magia combo is a lot of fun, it's likely not going to be the most competitive way to play Blue Eyes White Dragon, so I'm going to showcase to you without playing any of these cards, as you're going to see with tournament topping decks on the top decks page or on the tier list. As we're likely not going to be seeing Magia, you'll be seeing something closer to this. It's important to note with this 1.5 card combo, which the 0.5 means any other card in your hand for discarding, that you could achieve the same field with any card you see on the screen here, being the Sage, Maiden, Wishes for Eyes of Blue, Bingo, or even a Piri Reese map. So this is incredibly consistent, but the order in which you make the plays will be differing slightly depending on what you have in your hand. It is very important to be paying attention to the very small details within this combo, or you will mess this up. Let's start this off by activating the Maiden of White, equipping into our back row our True Light, which will then activate to put into our back row a Prayers of White. We're going to discard a card from our hand and then search our deck for the Saga spell and Sage with Eyes of Blue. You're now going to be activating the Saga to summon from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon. This will trigger the Engraved Maiden to reborn herself onto the field. Now we're going to normal summon our Sage with Eyes of Blue, searching our deck for an Effect Veiler. Now let's further link off the Sage with Eyes of Blue into the Spirit with Eyes, which will then trigger on someone to search our deck for a field spell. So first off, a huge detail here is the Link 1 states that you cannot special summon except dragon monsters while this is on the field. Meaning that if you summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon with Maiden Engrave, Maiden will not activate Engrave, and you're going to be thinking the game is bugged. I promise this is going to be happening to you at some point if you're not well practiced with this deck. Now with the Mausoleum in hand, let's activate it. And we're going to be waiting with the Mausoleum. We want to use the Mausoleum to target the Maiden of White to reborn a monster from Engrave. So we're going to activate the Prayers Engrave to equip onto the Blue Eyes White Dragon a Neo Ultimate Blue Eyes, where otherwise it would have been the Ultimate Blue Eyes in the Magia combo. As we come forth and summon a Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. The reason we are summoning the Tyrant Dragon is because we need the Blue Eyes White Dragon in graveyard for the Spirit of Eyes of Blue to reborn it, and we also need the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to not be on the field so that the Maiden can reborn the Sage with Eyes of Blue from Engrave, as it is a spellcaster, not a dragon, which we currently cannot summon. Let's now Spirit with Eyes of Blue, activate, reborning our Blue Eyes White Dragon. And now, without messing this up, we could activate the Mausoleum, targeting the Maiden, where otherwise, if we were to have activated it at any other point in time, we would have messed up this combo because of the Spirit with Eyes being on the field, blocking her from summoning the Sage from Engrave. Make sure she directly chains to the Mausoleum to reborn from Engrave our Sage with Eyes of Blue. And now, with this current field, as we send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the grave, we're going to first summon a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, and then we're going to summon another Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Now at this field, we could end our turn, and we're going to showcase to you all the disruptions that we have. We're going to give the opponent 8 cards in hand to make this a fair game. Let's see what they could do. They're going to start this off with an Engraver, searching the deck for a Tract activating to grab a Lurie. Discard that Lurie Engrave will now be activating. We can activate any of our Spirit Dragons. It is not a hard once per turn effect. Negate the Lurie from reborning from Engrave. Negate. Now from here, the Engraver is going to activate Engrave, returning back the Lurie to reborn itself from Engrave, but the Spirit Dragon, our second copy, will negate. Again, double graveyard negated. Now in the resolution, we're going to get hit by a Call by the Grave as we activate the Spirit Dragon to jump off the field. I would say it's important to wait for the resolution, where otherwise when you activate to negate their Engrave effect, then you chain to jump off the field. If they successfully finger your Spirit Dragon, they will be negating all of your effects, including the one of you trying to negate their Engrave effect. Now in order to not get fingered here, where the on-field Spirit Dragon would also be negated, we're going to be chaining our other Spirit Dragon. Chain the Spirit Dragon. Again, do not, in addition to this, do not chain both your Spirit Dragons at the same time if they have not used Call by the Grave, because if I were them, I would have waited with my finger. If you were to chain both of your Spirit Dragons, I finger one, which would then finger both of them. They would both be negated. So as the other Spirit Dragon resolves, we're going to summon the ultimate Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which now states your opponent cannot banish cards from our graveyard. Thus, the first Spirit Dragon that activated can successfully resolve without getting banished. As we summon a Crimson Dragon from the extra deck. Crimson Dragon will target the ultimate Spirit Dragon to now summon a Sifra Divine Dragon. Now I'm going to bring this up right now. If we go into the tier list on Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta to then see that Blue Eyes is a top tier deck in the TCG, if we click on it, we'll see that not everyone is playing a Crimson Dragon. In fact, only 42% are playing it. So what would you play instead of the Crimson Dragon if you do not want to play this, which also helps you summon the Sifra Dragon or a Blazar Dragon? What you could do is play a Moonlight Dragon instead, which would save you 2 spots in your extra deck. The Moonlight Dragon states that on special summon or when a level 5 or higher monster is summoned to your opponent's side of the field, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls, returning that card back to the hand. But instead for this combo, we have our Sifra Divine Dragon. They're going to use Impermanence onto the ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is where we gain the benefit of not playing Magia, as the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate can negate any card effect that would target a Blue Eyes monster. Now, of course, this is just for showcasing our combos. The Imperm would have been better used on the Sifra Dragon instead, where we would have not been able to negate it with our Engraved Neo Ultimate. Negate. the impermanence. As we're going to follow up with the Harpy Feather Duster, the Cipher is going to passively protect our backrow cards from being destroyed. Raigeki will again passively be stopped by our Cipher Dragon. Now, it's important to note with the ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon, when it negates the activation of a card only on the field can it negate something, it does not destroy nor banish that card. It just negates the activation. So the big problem with this card is when they activate a monster effect and you negate its activation with the ultimate spirit, that monster remains on the field. But if we negate the activation of a spell or trap card, that card will not remain on the field. Its activation was negated, thus it goes to the grave. Say goodbye to the Sangan Summoning. And now they're going to follow up with Pydra. Pydra on summon will activate to search the deck. We're going to use our Effect Veiler to negate. Veiler is what we searched for, by the way, so it was not a random hand trap. And then they're going to activate Chandra. We're going to use the Cipher to negate a monster effect no matter where it is, negate the activation, and then destroy any card on the field as we take out the Pydra. And just like that, a super competitive way to play Blue Eyes White Dragon without Magia. And use the True Light during the end phase, reborn our Blue Eyes White Dragon, which then triggers the Maiden to reborn herself back on the field. The ultimate Spirit Dragon can reborn the Tyrant Dragon after being destroyed during the end phase due to the effect of the Spirit Dragon, where otherwise if they did not activate Raigeki, it could have stayed on the field due to Cipher protecting it from being destroyed. And then we may as well just clean up this duel. Let's speed on through this. We could reborn our Blue Eyes White Dragon after using it for a Synchro, reborn the Maiden again, could link it off into a Spirit, which could reborn another Blue Eyes White Dragon. Wham bam, thank you ma'am, over 15,000 damage on the field. And as you saw there, holy moly, the Tyrant Dragon, after battling, it can battle into every monster, by the way, recycles a trap engrave to reset it on the field. Now, I understand the feeling after watching a combo guide, you now know how to go first with your deck, but your opponent is going first instead, and you have no idea how to do as much damage as possible. Let's quickly showcase a neat combo where we are able to deal 12.4 thousand damage. We're going to do this with a 1.5 card combo, so if you have any of the other cards we talked about earlier, it will be doable with these cards you see on screen. We're going to activate the Maiden, set up the True Light, set up the Prayers, discard a card from our hand, search our deck for a Saga and a Sage. We are now going to use the Saga to summon from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're going to trigger the Engrave Maiden to reborn herself onto the field. Now, we're going to follow up with a normal summoned Sage with White, as we're going to activate to grab an Effect Veiler from our deck here in case the turn does not end. We're now going to link off into Spirit with Eyes of Blue, activating to search our deck for a Mausoleum. Now remember, the Spirit is locking us in the Dragon only, where we really want to use the Mausoleum onto the Maiden to reborn the Sage, but we cannot do so due to the restriction. So we're going to use Prayers to equip onto the Blue Eyes White Dragon to come forth and summon a Tyrant Dragon. Now we could get the Spirit off the field to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from our hand or grave, and now we could additional normal summon with the Mausoleum, by the way, our Effect Veiler, as we then go into a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Now, we're going to use the Mausoleum targeting the Maiden of White to then use her effect, directly chaining to being targeted, to reborn from engrave our Blue Eyes White Dragon. And with that, we're going to summon a second copy of the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Come forth and summon. And with this current field, how much damage do we have here? We have 8,400 damage, but we're going to add even more. Smack him for 34, recycle a trap engrave if we have one. This also can attack in every single body on the field. We're then going to follow up 2,500, 2,500, activate the Spirit Dragon, summon from the extra deck. We have to summon into defense. So this extra damage combo is going to be just if you have Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon will target the ultimate Spirit Dragon to come forth and summon the Cipher Divine at 4,000 attack, lethal damage for over 12,000 damage. As I said earlier, I'm going to showcase to you a combo without the Master with Eyes of Blue and without the Accel Stardust Synchro plus the Stardust Dragon, so you're going to have more room in your extra deck and at least one extra spot in your main deck through this combo. And for this combo, it's going to be a 1.5 card combo. Again, we're going to start this off with a Sage with Eyes of Blue on summon, searching our deck for a Maiden of White. Maiden's going to discard herself, equipping into the back row the True Light. We're going to link off into a Spirit with Eyes of Blue with the Sage, activating to search our deck for a Mausoleum. With the Mausoleum, we're going to target the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to send from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're now going to use Spirit to jump off the field to summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon to trigger the Engrave Maiden to reborn herself onto the field. Now, we are going to be activating True Light early. This does play into an ogre, so there are some concessions with this play if you're not going to want to play the other cards that make this a bit safer and a bit better. We're going to activate the Prayers with White, discard a card from our hand, search for our fusion spell, plus a Sage with Eyes of Blue. We're going to use the Prayers to equip onto the Blue Eyes White Dragon here, our ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon, as we now could go into our Spirit Dragon. We're going to additional normal summon. That's right, more than once per turn, we could summon the Sage and search our deck for another tuner. We're going to grab an Effect Veiler here, and then we're going to use the Spirit Dragon to jump off the field into an Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy is going to destroy all field spells on field, searching for a Gateway to Chaos. Gateway to Chaos will be activated to search our deck for the Blackluster Soldier. And then we're going to activate Ultimate Fusion, fusing away the Blackluster Soldier from in hand and the Ultimate Dragon Engrave for our Ultimate Dragon Master Magia. Now, what do we do from here? We're going to be linking off the Sage with Eyes of Blue into a Spirit with Eyes of Blue, as we turn the Spirit and the Ancient Fairy Dragon into a Hieratic Seal. So we're not going to have to play the Accel Synchro. We're not playing Master in this version. This is what your field would look like. Of course, the ultimate combo with just one card is better, but it takes up a lot of spots in the extra deck and an extra spot in the main deck, which you may not want to be doing. Now, with the Hieratic Seal, you could use its effect to spin any face-up card the opponent controls back to the hand. It would then activate Engrave to summon from the deck any dragon monster you have in your deck, which could possibly be a Magna Hut, which may be better than just a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So you can in fact replace the Master for a Magna Hut, and that may be how you want to play your deck instead. Now let's get to the best deck list and best way to actually play the deck now that you know the combo. So we're going to start off on masterduelmeta.com. Ideally, the deck will be on the tier list soon, and you can check it out from there. If not, you're going to go to the top decks page, and you're going to see under new cards or Blue Eyes White Dragon here. You could even search up Blue Eyes White Dragon, but I'm recording this video before the deck actually comes out. You can further go to deck types up here, type in Blue Eyes, and this will be updating with the best way to play the deck as people start reaching Master 1 and topping tournaments with the deck. But before that, let's showcase how we're going to be doing that. We can click on TCG or OCG here. By going on over to Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta by clicking that button, we are now on the tournament topping Blue Eyes deck breakdown for the deck. But there's a big problem. They have the Primite engine and we do not, so we're going to have to filter out the Primite cards to showcase to you the best way to play this deck. But even without the Primite cards, the extra deck stays relatively the same. So we could first look at that on the way you're going to want to be playing the extra deck. So focus on this. At least 2 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragons. You could also play 3. I will be playing 3 on release very likely for my Magia version of the deck. At least 2 of your Spirit of White. At least 1 Tyrant. Some people are playing 2, and then go down the line of importance on what you should be playing in your extra deck. That is how the TCG is playing it. Now, if we switch on over to the OCG, it's going to relatively be the same way to play the extra deck. Now, scrolling on down from the top extra deck, we're going to be looking at the best tournament topping decks from the OCG and TCG. But we want to be filtering out the Primate cards. So we're going to type in Primate, we'll type in Barrel, we'll type in Lordy Load. We'll also type in another card, the Primate Roar. So for the TCG, nothing exists. But if we go on over to the OCG, you'll see many tournament topping deck lists not using the Primate cards, which will be a good gauge on what we should be playing. And I'm just going to open up a bunch of them and then go right back into it. All right, we now have a bunch of tournament topping deck lists opened up for you, which have been topping in Japan. I think the big difference as we're waiting for the Primate cards is we're going to be possibly using cards like Bingo Machine Go or the Piri Reese map. Piri Reese map could search for a Sage, then Sage could search for Maiden. With the Piri Reese map, do not search for your Maiden. That is a really bad idea because the map states that if you do not normal summon the monster, you cannot activate the added monster's effects or effects with the same name of that card. And then the Bingo Machine, we could do is reveal to your opponent 3 wishes for Eyes of Blue to guarantee one of them in your hand. And then here is the extra deck on how you'd possibly want to be playing it. We would not be playing the Aggregator because they're playing with the Ultimate Slayer, so make sure you skip out on that. Let's see another deck list here. This mad lad is deciding to play with Synchro Rumble. Synchro Rumble searchable at the Crimson Dragon, and the Synchro Rumble could reborn a tuner from Engrave. Also without Magia, they are still playing Mash with Eyes of Blue, and they're also playing with Ancient Fairy Dragon here to destroy the opponent's field spell to then search for your own Mausoleum. being a secondary way outside of the Spirit with Eyes of Blue if it were to get negated to gain access to your Mausoleum to then additionally normal summon from the hand or get another Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck into the grave. Another deck list here. The Secret Village is banned, so we're not going to be looking at that. Where the Neo Kaiser Horse is being played here, where you could choose to play this, the Period Resmap, or the Bingo Go to help out with consistency while we don't have Primite. This deck is also playing Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, a very powerful card which states that if any card in the field is destroyed, it can summon itself from the hand or from the grave, and then it protects your other cards from being destroyed. And also at the start of the damage step, if this card battles, you can target one card your opponent controls, any card they control in the damage step, you're going to return it back to their hand. A great way to remove any threat on the field. Let's further see anything crazy here. This is looking as normal as the other decks. They are playing Ultimate Fusion despite not playing with the Magia because it does have disruption with the Tyrant Dragon. Thus, we're playing at least 2 Tyrant Dragons here. Accel Synchro and the Moonlight Dragon for spinning. Let's keep on going. We have another version of the deck, their main deck and Slayer. You can ignore that. That's a non-engine tech. And what else do we have? Anything else crazy here? This Mad Lad is choosing to play Illusion of Chaos, a non-searchable way to play with Magia if you get lucky enough to open up that, sure. They're also playing Where Art Thou. With Where Art Thou, it is another consistency play. What you could do is you could normal summon a Veiler or a Droll Lockbird. You could use Where Art Thou to then search your deck for any level 1 monster from your deck. Let's keep on going. Anything crazy with this build? I don't see anything that's standing out. I think you're getting the gist on how you are now ready to play the deck. There's a lot of different ways to play without the Primite engine, and then do get ready for the Primite cards possibly coming out soon. And make sure you check me out on twitch.tv/Decade as we're going to be having a Blue Eyes Pack Day tournament qualifier, $1,000, and we're going to have, in addition to that, weekly tournaments where we're hopefully going to see the best way to play Blue Eyes. Let's go.